Discovering that you're autistic later in life can be life-changing. It's like suddenly getting a manual for yourself. But with that comes a lot of emotions, relief, grief, anger, and even empowerment. They all show up in different ways, and today we're breaking them all down. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone. Hey, Define Yourselfer. I am the Confident Autistic. I'm an autistic adult, late diagnosed. Here on my YouTube channel, I share videos that will help you understand autism and build the confidence necessary to live life confidently autistic. Now, if this resonates with you, please subscribe to this channel. And don't forget to ring the bell to be notified of new videos and when I go live for my weekly Q&A live stream. Let's start with that first wave of emotions, the initial shock and confusion. When you first realize that you are autistic, it can be overwhelming. Maybe you took a test, saw a video like this, or even received a formal diagnosis, and suddenly everything clicks. But along with that aha moment, there's often a wave of questions. Is this really me? How did I not know? Or even, what does this mean for my future? A big part of this stage is re-evaluating your past through a new lens. You might think back to childhood struggles, social differences, or times when you felt just different, and suddenly it all makes sense. But that can also bring a lot of uncertainty into your life. And I've been through that phase. When I think it was during the time I was self-identifying, but really hit when I received my diagnosis. I went through this phase of reevaluating my life and things were making sense to me. This is why this all happened. And it was a little bit of a challenge for me. And it did bring a lot of uncertainty in my life. And I think the uncertainty for me was caused by what's my life going to be like in the future? And that's a common feeling many of us have. And it's okay to feel unsure. I know I have. This is a big realization when you realize that you are autistic or receive that diagnosis, late autism. It takes time to process this. Let's be honest, a big change in your life. I mean, it's a big change in your identity from thinking you're holistic and you were broken or you were defective to now I know what's going on with me. I know I'm on the spectrum and there's nothing wrong with that. That's like a 180-degree turn you got to make. And it's going to be challenging. So yes, feeling unsure is okay. It is a big realization and it takes time to process. And there's no right or wrong way to feel at this point in your life. So however you feel, embrace that feeling, accept it without judgment. Now, for many of us, one of the hardest emotions to process after we realize or receive that late diagnosis of autism is grief. Grieving the what ifs. And the what ifs sound like this. What if I had known sooner in my life? I've been there. I still wonder that question at times. I received my diagnosis at the time of taping this video about 9 months ago, and I'm still going through, what if I had known sooner in my life? How could that have changed my life? What if I had the right support growing up? Again, I still wonder about that. And the reason I face that challenge a lot, maybe you're doing the same reason, maybe you're doing it for the same reason, is I have a great nephew. He's 6 years old, and he was diagnosed with autism, I think, at the age of 4, a little bit younger than that. And he's getting the support I never got at his age. And I gotta admit, I'm a little bit jealous for him because he's probably gonna have a better. Well, his autism is different than mine. I think it's a little bit more challenging for him. I don't know. It's not a competition. Okay, it really isn't, folks. I should not do that. But I know he's going to get the support I did not get, and I'm just so excited to see how that's going to make his life even easier for him. He's still going to have challenges. Let's be honest, okay? But he's going to have support I did not have, and I'm a little jealous that he's getting it and I didn't. But that's okay. I love him. Anyway, and so, the what ifs that we're talking about here. What if I known sooner? What if I had the right support growing up? What if people had understood me better? And that goes through my mind. I think about that a lot. I don't know about you. And share if you have similar experiences. I wonder if people had known when I was a kid that I was autistic, and I got to put it in this frame. If we knew then, because I was a kid in the 70s, if we knew then what we know about autism, and if people knew then I was autistic, would people better understand some of my behaviors, some of my meltdowns and outbursts that I had, and instead of being scolded for them, which I was, and I could have received the proper support, and how could that have changed my life? I think all of us go through that. If you go through that, share that in the video so I don't feel alone and others do not feel like they're the only one going through it, if you're comfortable sharing that. Now, it is painful. Let's be honest, and I can speak from my own personal experience. It can be painful to look back and realize how different life could have been if you had the tools and accommodations you needed. And I know this from my own experience because I'm seeing how my great nephew is getting the support at the age of 6 that I probably could have used similar kind of support at his age. And it is kind of frustrating to me. And so and that's an appropriate emotion. I'm not judging myself for that emotion. We don't judge ourselves for our emotions. Emotions are emotions. I mean, I ran into a nurse once, and this is going somewhere. Trust me. Okay, I ran into a nurse, met a nurse, had a nurse taking care of me, and we were talking about thoughts. You know, you can have good thoughts and bad thoughts. A good thought could be, oh, I'm going to win the lottery. A bad thought could be, oh, I'm going to go rob a bank. Okay. And she explained to me because I was having trouble with some thoughts and judging them. And she explained something to me. A thought is a thought. It's neither good or bad. When you take action on that thought, then it becomes a good thought or a bad thought. Never looked at it that way, and I'm not exactly sure how that ties in here, except I learned not to judge my thoughts, and we should not judge the emotions that we are going through as we, accept the diagnosis or self identifying as autistic. Now, maybe you struggled in school, faced burnout at work, or felt isolated in relationships, all without knowing why. And now there's this deep sadness and even anger that you didn't have the knowledge you do now. And that knowledge I'm referring to is a knowledge that you self identify or you have received a late diagnosis of autism. Basically, the knowledge is that you are autistic. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to grieve over lost opportunities, people who misdiagnosing you, whatever. It's okay to grieve over that. Let's take a deep breath here and say it's okay to grieve. If we're grieving, it's okay. You're not too late to embrace who you are. The best thing you can do while you're going through the grieving phase is to be kind to yourself. And you can be kind to yourself by journaling, by talking to others who understand what you're going through. That could be people in autism support group, whether it be in person, online, just a fellow autistic person that you know and you feel comfortable sharing with, or even just allowing yourself to feel and experience grief without judgment can help you process your grief as someone who is recently self identifying as autistic or has received a late diagnosis of autism. On the flip side of grief is relief. Grief to relief kind of rhymes, makes it easy to remember, right? It does for me. Now, on the flip side of grief is relief. That moment when you go, wait, this explains everything. For many, a late diagnosis or self discovery of autism feels like a weight being lifted. I'll be honest with you, it did for me. I went through all these phases I'm talking about today, but it did give me that feeling that a weight being lifted. I no longer felt there's something wrong with me, that I'm just not with it as my autistic peers. I don't understand social interactions. I usually screw up friendships, whatever. Now I felt a weight of being lifted. It's not my fault. I was born with autism. I had no control over that. That's not my fault. Now that I know what it is, I can learn about it and I can learn to work with it and accept my challenges and find ways to overcome the challenges by digging into resources that are out there and connecting with other autistic people. That is, people. Yeah, people's the plural for person. Got to remember that. Okay. Anyway, let's get serious here. All the years of feeling different for us who late diagnosis or late self-identifying as autistic, all the years of feeling different suddenly makes sense. It did for me. What happens is you finally, and this happened to me too, we finally have a name for our experiences. And that name is autism. And that can bring an incredible sense of validation. It did for me. Like I mentioned a few moments ago, it made me realize there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not defective. I'm different. And that's okay. Now, this relief can lead to deeper self acceptance. You no longer have to force yourself to fit into neurotypical expectations. Yes, you can start embracing your needs, setting the boundaries that you need, and giving yourself grace when you need it. Because autism comes with challenges. You're learning how to navigate them. You're learning how to get around some of them. And some of them, hey, these are really big challenges. Like for me, auditory sensory overload is a big challenge. I can't overcome that. I'm not able to at this point. I don't like saying can't because that's like an end statement. Because I like to, but if I don't, I'm okay with that. So I come around that challenge, or I address the challenge by when I'm in public. I wear blue noise canceling headphones, and I usually play 80s music through it, and that helps me stay regulated. That's one of the ways that I'm embracing my needs. I'm setting my boundaries by blocking out some of that noise. And I'm okay with that because I know I need it. I give myself grace. And here's the key. This is an important thing I want you to remember. You don't have to feel guilty about this relief. If you're feeling relief that you now know that you're on the spectrum or you self-identify as being on the spectrum, don't feel guilty about that relief. This is a good thing. You figured something out about yourself. You're understanding yourself better. This is good. Don't feel guilty. Celebrate this moment, okay? Because you deserve to understand yourself. Let me say that again. You deserve to understand yourself. And let's be honest, this does not only go for autistics, this goes for holistics. Every single one of us deserves to understand who we are. Now, this isn't about labeling yourself. We're not labeling ourselves as autistic, okay? This is not labeling. I'm going to be doing a video on that in a few days, so watch for that. This isn't about labeling yourself. It's about knowing yourself. And that's a key thing. We're not putting a label on ourselves because I believe labels are limiting. And so we don't want to label ourselves. We want to just understand and know ourselves and know who we authentically are, know where our strengths are, know where our weaknesses are, know where our challenges are, and come up with plans to overcome or work around those weaknesses or those challenges. Now, many late diagnosed autistic adults, not to mention those who self identify as autistic, feel frustration towards the system. And when I mean the system, I mean, let's be honest, it can be anything from the medical community, psychiatric community, or just the world in general. And this frustration that we experience often is fueled by misdiagnoses and the lack of support we received as we were growing up and we continue to receive today as adults. Maybe doctors overlooked your struggles. Maybe teachers dismissed your needs, Or maybe society's expectations forced you to mask so much that you lost sight of who you authentically are. I know this has happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you. You want to share your experiences in the comments? Feel free to if you're comfortable. I'd love to hear them, love to read them. And yeah, I kind of feel frustrated that doctors missed it and teachers dismissed my needs. In fact, I know in my case, because I was so stubborn, I would go into shutdown, would not even talk. They did not even know what my needs were, and nobody knew how to reach me. I feel frustrated about that. But I also know, and I remind myself of this, we did not know, and this is important if you're in my age group, middle age, whatever. Um, we did not know what we know about autism today. We did not know that when we were kids. What we know about autism today was not there 50 years ago when I was a kid, 50 plus years ago. And I've had somebody tell me this a while back. I can't remember who, and it made me feel really good. And I want to pass this along to you. They know I'm autistic and all. They said if we knew then, we being society, doctors, whatever, if they knew then back in the 1970s what we know today, what they know today about autism, you would have been diagnosed and you would have gotten the support that you needed. Okay. Now, yeah, that made me a little bit angry, a little bit frustrated because it went into those what ifs, but it also made me remind myself people did the best they could when I was a child. They just didn't know. And I can't hold a grudge against it. I can't be mad at them for that. They did the best they could. Okay. We just have learned so much in the last 50 years about autism, and that's great. And we're going to learn more and we're going to help more people. But we just got to move on from that. Okay. But anger is valid. Okay. The anger you're feeling is valid. It means you recognize the injustice you've been through. But here's the challenge: don't let the anger consume you. Let me say that again. Don't let the anger you are feeling consume you. Instead, let the anger you're feeling fuel you. And you can do this by advocating for yourself, setting boundaries. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Speak up when things aren't accessible. And most importantly, don't be afraid to show up as an autistic adult. Anger can be powerful, but it's even more powerful when you turn it into action. And finally, let's talk about empowerment, because after the grief, relief, and anger, there is a path forward. This is the good part, people. So get excited, get a pen, paper, whatever. Start taking notes. Rewind this video, watch it again, make it a favorite, share it on your social media. What do you have to do? Make sure you can refer back to it, because this is the best part: empowerment. Let's get into it. Understanding that you are autistic means you now get to reclaim your identity. Let me say that again. We get to reclaim our identity once we self identify or receive that late diagnosis of autism. This means you and I, we can unmask when it feels safe. We can create a lifestyle that works for us, not against us. And best of all, we do not have to do it alone. There are incredible autistic communities out there ready to welcome you, whether it's online groups, local meetups, or even just finding an autistic creators like me that you resonate with. And I hope you do resonate with me. You are not alone. I know the numbers say that maybe 1% to 2% of the population is on the spectrum. I think it might be a little bit higher, because I think a lot of people going misdiagnosed, especially people who are adults. And as we learn more about autism, I think we're going to see the numbers go up a little bit, not significantly. I think it will. And there's been a bias in the past that only middle class, upper class white males were diagnosed, and I think that skewed the numbers because I think it's more widespread. But even though the percentages are low, probably will always be less than 10%. Okay, at least in my lifetime, you're not alone. There's another person the people, the groups of people who are going through what you're going through. Find them, connect with them. You can connect with me. Heck, I'm one of them. I'm one of us. We're all in this together. We all experience autism differently. I say that all the time. But we're all in this together and we can help one another. And that's what it's all about. Helping another human being. That's why I believe we're on earth, to help one another. Because if we do not need others to survive and to thrive, why did God put 8 billion people on this planet? So here's my challenge to you. Take this new knowledge that you are autistic and use it to empower yourself. And all the knowledge I shared with you today. Take this new knowledge and use it to empower yourself. You, and only you, get to decide what comes next. I can't decide that for you. Your therapist can't decide that for you. Your counselor cannot decide that for you. Your spouse cannot decide that for you. Your mom, your dad, anyone, no one can decide what's next for you in your journey as an autistic adult. Only you can. You get to embrace your autism and you got to embrace your autism to live confidently autistic. And that's what I'm all about. That's what the channel's all about. To help you live confidently autistic. And in a nutshell, that means, yes, you're autistic. And instead of feeling like this is a bad thing, I want you to know it's a good thing. I want you to be confident enough to say, hey, I'm autistic. I'm here. I'm not going to go away. Let's work together so we can create something great in our society. Now it's your turn. Have you experienced this emotional roller coaster that we talked about today? If you feel comfortable, let me know in the comments. Or whatever your thoughts about this video are. I'd love to hear them. Until next time, this is the Confident Autistic, aka Chris Mitchell, reminding you that I'm always here to help you live life confidently autistic.